Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. It's one of those cozy nights. Rain outside quite a bit, wet everywhere, a foggy weather looking, fly around my face. No. And however, it's one of those nights that you would like to just have a cup of tea or whatever your favorite beverage is and maybe watch a good movie or read a good book or maybe like we are doing ponder about something interesting. And that is perhaps we want to explore what is the that ultimate roots of divisions and problems that relationships encounter. But I think in order to understand that in a deeper sense, since we have talked about this issue in many of these 230 videos that I have on this channel, and some of them in detail and a little bit deeper than just the relationship end and actually in the depth of our psychology and our psyche and how things are really related. But tonight, perhaps there is something that we can add to that. And I feel it's a subject that we haven't really in this way discussed it together. And I think it's a perfect evening for that. If we really want to understand what is that active ingredient that encourages or initiates or plants a seed for creating division in relationships and lead to breakups, in addition to everything else that we talked about, we need to go deeper and find out what is that nature of human being in the way the psyche of human being believes and thinks about itself. For that, I want to introduce to you the question of fragmentation and the wholeness and its relationship with relationships, which I believe that is the root of all human conflicts and behavior. So, why is there so much difficulty with hunger, security, physical security, psychological security, killings around the world between nations, as it was thousands of years ago between tribes, as it was 1,000 years back between individuals, and so on and so forth. Well, we know that this whole business of physical security was first and foremost importance in the mind of the caveman, or whenever we became who we became to the point that we were aware of certain things that we need to do to create that necessary physical security, which was safety from wild animals or each other, which is the same thing even at today's standards, or for food and shelter and so on and so forth. So we created this alertness and awareness of the necessity of that physical security, and then we ended up teaming up with someone else because we saw other people are coming and stealing our, I don't know, goodies, chicken, or as I mentioned in another video, baby dinosaur that we were gonna have barbecue, and or maybe our women in thousands of years ago. And so we thought if we team up with another member, will be two of us, then we could fend off the attackers. In that way, we will create more of a physical security. Lo and behold, the others also went and became more than one. And then we had 2 against 2. Then we became 3, and they became 3 and 4 and the 4 and so on. And the destruction powers went much bigger than how it was, which was 1 against 1. And then we had, weaponries and all that so forth. Continuously, we tried to escalate this in order to create that physical security, which in fact we really were aiming for psychological security through physical security, but the actual mere pursuit of psychological security stops that physical security. Because what? For psychological security, we join groups. We join groups, whether we're a lawyer or doctor or teacher, however, we have syndicates, we have groups, we have councils or whatnot, and we feel safe in that environment being part of the group. They have the insurance, they have lawyers, they have policies. We are part of an organization, so we feel more than one. We feel more secure than if we were alone. Their mechanism in place, and that could be of importance to us, to how we feel, give that psychological security. Then we rely on the mechanical process. We are whoever we are, teacher, driver, sportsman, whatever we are, we go through certain steps of doing something during the day in order to do our work. All the steps necessary for us to do and manage our job, day-to-day job, that's the mechanical process. And in that mechanical process, the mind is busy with that and brings calmness in the mind and focus to the mind, and that itself brings order. And that order and being part of the group that we just talked about creates that whole psychological security, illusory psychological security that we think we can achieve it, but lo and behold, we know that it's really pretty much hard or never attainable. So that's what we do in order to create that environment for ourselves which we would feel whole, we say. But lo and behold, how can we be whole when we damn well know that we come from a different background than the guy next to us or the girl next to us, different upbringing, different religion, different customs, different tribal habits and behavior, and different language, different schools, and different everything. So our consciousness, which is our center, is made differently than everybody else's consciousness center to a huge level or big level, some level. So how could it be that we actually think we are whole while there's so many different kinds of us around the world, but yet we think what that has made me in my consciousness, which I call my center, me, what I'm all about, my money, my job, my family, my religion, my custom, what I like, everything else about me, the way I think and so on, that's me, my center. And that to me represents the world. And therefore I think I am the whole. So if I'm the whole, nothing else really can be accepted. And for me to be in the position that I am, I have to destroy everything else. That's why nations go at war at each other, because they feel that they are it. They are all it has to be. They are the picture of humanity, representation of whatever they believe in, their God or their belief or the system that it should be. They think they are the whole, where the problem is that we are all fragmented, both internally and externally. Within our own mind and our thoughts, divisions occur, opposing desires, opposing thoughts, opposing philosophies, opposing way of doing things and thinking and seeing, perceiving, and also with in relation to all the others who come from totally different backgrounds and the way they're put together. So the totality human being is actually fragmented in every way, yet we think that fragmentation is the whole. Then we represent ourselves and expect the interaction of the others to us to be in the way of whole. And therefore we go at it and we think nothing is more important than this, what we are, which means I, me, is the most important thing in the world. Hence, how can I ever feel that I could have harmony in the real sense when there's always going to be division, because we're all fragmented in one way or another, and yet we want to dominate the other because we think this me is the most important. So now I have to defend it. I'm going to do whatever I got to do, as the nations have been doing for 1,000 years and still today they're doing. They're bombing each other, killing each other, just so they say that it has to be my way, because they think they represent the whole of life, the whole of behavior of humanity to be, and they don't realize that we are all fragmented. So, if fragmentation is because we think we are whole and we've missed the point, therefore we have no space for any other fragment to come and interact with us, because we say they are unacceptable as I am the whole, rather than knowing that I am piece of the puzzle, and this puzzle needs all these fragmented pieces, and all these fragmented pieces can easily fit into this whole picture and create a bigger picture, which that would be the whole. Yet we consider ourselves to be the whole while we're fragmented, and we don't respect the fact everybody else is also thinking that they're the whole while they're fragmented, which means there's too many holes in one more ways than one. And if there are too many holes, it won't hold water. In other words, it will not float, it will sink. There are too many holes. So we must realize that neither one of us is the whole world, is the whole humanity, while every one of us has everything that the humanity needs and is supposed to develop and advance itself into. So if we understand that we are fragmented, then we would have more tolerance to understand and be able to interact with the other one. But as long as we think we are it, then we are the most important. Therefore, we will always be ultimately thinking about how it should be for us, which would bring conflicts, contradiction, which brings division, and then, only then, we realize that we are not the whole. There are other things involved, because now there's discrepancies, there are divisions, there's conflicts, and we become aware, and it's like we awaken that, hey, the world cannot be and is not all about me. But then we've been conditioned to think that way, and that's basically why neither there are peace around the world, because everybody has missed the point of our connection relationship between each other, and in relationship we all have missed the point that it is not about me being the center of this whole relationship, and you, the other side, have to serve and make sure that it will go the way I want it to. And if each one of them think that way, guess what? There's always going to be conflicts, division, and trouble. So there would be no harmony, because each one of them ultimately, because of that certain characteristics of humanity and human being, wrongly so, thinking that they're the whole, each one of these partners, just like the bigger picture as a whole humanity, they think ultimately everything should be for them. So they're focusing on what's really going to be best for them, not as a unit, because they consider themselves as a whole, not fragment, and consider the other person fragment, like part. But me, I'm the whole. So she has to be part of me, or he has to be part of the lady. So that is pretty much the basis of trouble in everything that we see around the world. Is the philosophy and the psyche of humanity, the way it's been conditioned, and wrongfully so, and also spills over to the personal relationships, because everyone who is fragmented thinks they are not, and that they are whole, and therefore they act as if they are whole, which rubs everybody else's in that relationship in the wrong way, and they're all doing it the same. So let's see if we can figure out, we can recognize the fact that we are all fragmented, that we all need to understand and be more lenient and more patient, more pay attention to each other's needs. And it's not all about us, it's all about everybody in that relationship, or any relationship. It's about the two people who are involved. Pretty much a little something for you to think about, and I hope to talk to you again soon.